people are sick, and I'm telling you, they know the game. They know the game, and they play it dirtier than anybody's ever played the game. Dirtier than it's ever been played.
There is no more important topic than the collapse of downtown Edmonton that is not fixable. No, I'm not putting an email together. I'm making videos. I'm doing something that actually will get results, because emails are just going to get... Yeah, you know what? Well, your job should be covering the collapse of downtown Edmonton. There is no more important... I'm not sending emails. I'm right here, face to face. You're the reporter, so you should be reporting on the real story.
I'm glad you're doing it.
I'm doing my job.
Where can we see it?
I will forward you. I will hashtag you. City News, right? What is your name? What is your name? Do you want to provide your information? No? Well, I would like to send it to you.
Sorry, I don't find it.
Using that grouping and clustering of wealthy shoppers, will harm downtown Edmonton, at least certainly from a high-end standpoint. And downtown Edmonton didn't have a lot of super high-end retail to begin with, but this is almost, I guess you'd say, a nail in the coffin.
In less than a year, Edmonton's only Holt Renfrew location, located just over my shoulder, Manulife Place downtown, will be no more. The decision to close comes as the chain undergoes a $400 million expansion, focusing on larger stores unlike this one. Holt Renfrew first opened its stores in downtown Edmonton 69 years ago. The retailer carries high-end brands like Alexander McQueen, Dolce & Gabbana, Gucci, and Louis Vuitton. A standalone Louis Vuitton store is opening inside West Edmonton Mall this year, but it's unclear if that factored into the decision to close. A retail expert told Global News downtown Edmonton has seen increasing challenges for retail over the past 30 years, but Mayor Don Iveson says it isn't necessarily indicative of any such problems.
Retailers are going to make their own decisions, and so that's really up to them. Retail is changing all around the world. Lots of businesses are making different decisions, so I wouldn't read too much into it.
Losing that grouping and clustering of wealthy shoppers, will harm downtown Edmonton, at least certainly from a high-end standpoint. And downtown Edmonton didn't have a lot of super high-end retail to begin with, but this is almost, I guess you'd say, a nail in the coffin.
Holt Renfrew told Global News in a statement, the decision to close our smallest regional store located in Edmonton was difficult, and we did not take the decision lightly. It continues, in order to execute against our strategy, we determined that our enhanced specialty luxury model requires a larger footprint in any market and significant presence from our key brand partners. Edmonton shoppers have the rest of the year to buy their luxury handbags and other items, but come January 11th, 2020, Holt Renfrew Edmonton is set to close for good. Albert Delatala, Global News.
And the retail landscape downtown will be changing again. Luxury retailer Holt Renfrew will be closing January the 11th. The department store has been open in our city since 1950. Its current location is the corner of 102nd Avenue and 101st Street. The company says it wants to focus on its bigger stores. Last year, it announced it was closing its menswear store in Toronto.
And the news even got this part of the story incorrect. The Holt Renfrew men's store, located on Bloor Street in Toronto, did not close. It is still open today.
Retailers are going to make their own decisions, and so that's really up to them. Retail is changing all around the world. Lots of businesses are making different decisions, so I wouldn't read too much into it.
Don Iveson is the current mayor of the city of Edmonton. This is his second term. He was re-elected mayor in 2017 with 73.6% of the vote. He has served on Edmonton City Council since 2007. He is responsible for the absolute destruction of this city by letting retail crumble the way it has and not addressing it as a problem. This man should not be allowed to run a lemonade stand, let alone a city. When 73.6% of the vote went to this man, this indicates that voting should not be a right when people are uneducated and listen to the mainstream media, who, as President Trump says correctly, is the enemy of the people. So what did we learn from this CTV News report? We learned the location of Holt Renfrew, and anybody who lives in the city of Edmonton knows exactly where Holt Renfrew is located. We learned how old it was, and anyone can Google that. We learned that it closed a menswear store in Toronto, which has nothing to do with the destruction and destabilization of our entire downtown core, and how this will result in a domino effect. So how did Global News do on what should be the most important news story for this city ever? Well, they gave it 1 minute and 52 seconds of their time. They interviewed the mayor, if you can even call that an interview, because he was never even asked a single question. Don Iveson couldn't even look into the camera because he knows what he did. Maybe that was the plan all along. They also told us a bunch of random unnecessary facts, just like CTV did. And when Craig said that you could call this the nail in the coffin, Global didn't even ask him more questions. They didn't take that serious. I mean, how much more serious can it possibly be worded?
Hudson's Bay has been a staple in Edmonton for more than 200 years. The Bay's own website showcases the chain's long history in the city. But while the downtown store will reopen next week as part of the province's relaunch, its history is being cut short. The Bay isn't the only large retailer to close its door in the core. Back in January, Holt Renfrew also permanently shut down after being open for more than 69 years.
It's been a staple for shoppers in the downtown core for close to 50 years, but in a few months, the Bay here at Yonge and Bloor will be closing its doors for the final time. So why is this historic location now closing? In a statement, the company said in part, HBC continually looks at opportunities to optimize its real estate portfolio. Given the unique proximity to the Hudson's Bay Queen Street flagship location in Toronto, Hudson's Bay has made the decision to close its Bloor Street store on May 31st, 2022.
Well, good evening and thank you for coming. I want to update Torontonians on a difficult personal matter. During the pandemic, I developed a relationship with an employee in my office in a way that did not meet the standards to which I hold myself as mayor and as a family man. The relationship ended by mutual consent earlier this year. I recognize that permitting this relationship to develop was a serious error in judgment on my part. It came at a time when Barb, my wife of 40-plus years, and I were enduring many lengthy periods apart while I carried out my responsibilities during the pandemic. As a result, I've decided that I will step down as mayor so that I can take the time to reflect on my mistakes and to do the work of rebuilding the trust of my family.
It's really iconic.
Nordstrom opened to great fanfare in Canada less than a decade ago. Today, the luxury American department store announced it's closing up shop. It says its Canadian website will cease operations end of day Thursday, and all 13 Nordstrom and Nordstrom Rack stores will soon follow suit. The company said its Canadian operations lost money every year. Nordstrom is the latest U.S. chain to close stores in Canada. Target left in 2015, while Bed Bath & Beyond is now shutting dozens of Canadian locations. In a statement, Nordstrom CEO said, despite our best efforts, we do not see a realistic path to profitability for the Canadian business. Nordstrom's closure will result in roughly 2,500 people losing their jobs. Idil Musa, CBC News, Toronto.
A mega tower in the heart of the city is in major financial trouble. We're live outside The One, a high-profile Toronto condo project at Yonge and Bloor. It has already faced several setbacks and delays since construction started in 2017, and the project has now been placed into receivership. Lenders now forcing the project into receivership, claiming the developers failed to make payments on the growing debts. They come with a hefty price tag, currently starting at $3 million, with some of the penthouse suites listed online as high as $31 million. Apple was reportedly slated to open its flagship store on the main floor of this building, but pulled out because of all of the delays, and no replacement tenant has been secured as of yet.
Having considered what I believe to be the best interests of our party, our caucus, as well as my own preferences, I'm here today to announce that I will not be leading Alberta's NDP into the next election. I have informed both the senior officers of Alberta's NDP, as well as my caucus and staff, that upon the selection of a new leader, I will be stepping down from that role.
There is no more important topic than the collapse of downtown Edmonton that is not fixable. No, I'm not putting an email together. I'm making videos. I'm doing something that actually will get results. I'm trying to hit the group chat and tell them it's all rap. Can I ask a question? Oh, sure. Hi.
Hi.
I'm going to ask you when you're going to address the collapse of downtown Edmonton.
I'm sorry?
When are you going to address the collapse of downtown Edmonton?
We are working on it.
You're not though. Retail vacancies are at like a 90-95%, and that's the main root cause. And until you get tenants down here, you're not going to fix anything.
We are encouraging more people to come down, and we're building more residential.
Do you know what you need to do? In my opinion, and I study this, I'm an expert on retail. You need to force the landlords of all of those malls. That includes Oxford Properties, who ran away. That includes Aimco. That includes Manulife Investment Management and Quadreal. You need to force them to fill those malls up with stores immediately, or you're going to have a crisis like you've never ever even dreamed.
So what we will do, we'll connect you to Downtown Business Association.
No, I don't want. That's not going to fix anything. So you're not going to address it? We're in a crisis. This is a crisis. All of the major land developers are to blame. That includes Cadillac Fairview. We might as well add Ivanhoe Cambridge, who owns Southgate, to the mix. They have all destroyed retail to the point that no tenants want to operate a store downtown. Complete collapse downtown. You walk by it. You're right here. We are right downtown. So there you have it. That is City News. They ran away. Nobody wants to report on the collapse of downtown Edmonton. That is, in my opinion, the fault of the government and all the mega mall owners that own those three properties downtown. Manulife Place, Commerce Place, City Centre Mall, and the towers that are connecting them. Oxford Properties, who ran away. Everybody's running away. No one wants to talk on this topic, and that needs to change, and I'm here to make that change. I'm Dana, reporting from City Hall, what your mainstream media refuses to report on.
People are fed up. They're fed up with incompetence. They're fed up with stupid leaders. They're fed up with stupid people.